Hello, everyone. I'm happy to come your way again today. My name is Dr. Emmanuel Obodo. I'm a biomedical scientist, and I'm also a lecturer in biomedical science, all in United Kingdom. Okay. So, what I want to talk to us today is how do we deal with a mistake? So, when we make the mistake that occurs in the laboratory, how do we deal with it? In fact, it's actually one of the interview questions. Okay, how do you deal with mistake? Or sometimes they can say something like, how do you take a feedback? Or they can even say, how do you take a negative feedback? Of course, all of that, I actually answered it extensively on the book I wrote, okay, which you are also going to find on the description of this YouTube channel, okay. But the point I want to make, I felt like I should discuss this, okay, because when we have gotten a job and we start working, we're excited, but when mistakes start happening, what that excites us somehow began to make us to feel bad. But I want to tell you something, and I want to start from this way, including me that is talking to you. Everyone make a mistake in the lab, okay. Mistake is part of the job. In fact, you are likely to learn better because through the mistake that you have made. In most cases, it's not really about the mistake. It's about what have you learned from the mistake. Obviously, don't let the mistake to be too costly, okay? But you can, when mistake happen, just know that this is a normal. Whether someone is experienced, whether someone is not experienced, even me that is talking to you guys. In fact, I have validated the result with all my experience. I have validated the result that I shouldn't validate. With all my experience, I have made some mistake that I shouldn't make. I don't know why I made the mistake. You can call it oversight. You can call it. The truth of the matter is that in most cases, anytime I'm called upon regarding that mistake, I see it. In fact, as I'm saying, I doubt why that happened. So sometimes, when you work, maybe you are busy. Can make someone to make mistake. You are trying to meet up, or maybe you're on the phone call, or maybe someone distracts you, as the case may be. But the point I want to make is that mistakes do happen. You see, I'm saying it because people feel bad and they feel like they are not good because they are making mistakes. Obviously, you want to learn from the mistake. I'm not saying this video is not for us to keep making mistakes that are costly, but for us to know that mistake is part of it. I don't think there's nobody, not even your manager, no one can claim not to make a mistake in the lab. Let me show you an example. Do you know that maybe a laboratory manager maybe was supposed to, let's say order a material, okay? Maybe the person is supposed to order, maybe there's a badge number or a lot number of something that is finishing and that needs to be ordered, as the case may be. The person can forget it. That is a mistake and that is costly. Think about it. What if at night someone realized that the lot number had finished and no one has ordered it and it's the fault of the manager? It's still a mistake, okay? So you forget to phone a result, okay, and then you are called upon. It's a mistake. You validated a result that you should not validate, maybe a wrong patient sample and you validated. It's a mistake. So things do happen, and sometimes some of those mistakes are because based on our scientific judgment at the time, we may take a decision that perhaps on that condition, not that your decisions were wrong, but for that particular event, it was wrong. You used to take a similar decision on such situation and it was right, but on that occasion, it happened to be wrong. So I want us to know, mistakes do happen in pathology laboratory. This is what you must know. Anytime you step in the lab, you do your best not to make a mistake, but do also know that mistake is part of it. But you learn from the mistake that you have made. Okay, I'll tell you my own principle. My own principle is not that I don't want to make mistake. My own principle is that I don't want to repeat the mistake. Okay, and sometimes I repeat it, but I watch myself to make sure that I make minimal mistake. But I want you to know that people do make mistakes. Even the most experienced person, even me that is talking to you, we all make mistakes. So don't overbeat yourself when you make mistakes. Don't think you are not good because you have made a mistake. Don't do that. That is one of the ways to handle the mistake. And that is why I'm sharing this with us. Maybe I should give you my own personal example. Okay. There was a time I went for a senior role interview and I was giving questions, okay, on that question, they gave me, I think they gave me a slide to look at, okay? They gave me a slide to look at. They gave me a spreadsheet, okay, like Excel sheet, okay, to filter out some informations. They gave me some, I think it has to be a temperature chart, many other things that they gave me. And they gave me, was it 1 hour to do that or 40 minutes? I can't remember now. Now, with all my experience, I had confidence that none of those questions should throw me out. But do you know what happened to me? I spent all the time trying to work on the Excel sheet. And I didn't have time to look at the slide, to look at the QC chart they gave me, to look at the temperature chart they gave me. In fact, at the end, even the Excel sheet, I couldn't finish all the information there. But I have experience. But I mixed it. But do you know what that question was all about? The idea of that scenario of that question was for me to prioritize. Now, I know about prioritizing, but on that day, for some reasons, I didn't thought about it. I was trying to finish this field because I know I can, but I wasted time looking at the Excel sheet. What do you call it? It's a mistake. But can I tell you how I handled it? By the way, I did get that job. The way I handled it was, I told him, I said, oh, I didn't have time to look at other ones and all of that. Oh, I should have. So, but I told him, that's fine. I think I'm going to forget that and focus on the subsequent one. Now, what I did, because they did 3 levels of interviews, so that was the first level. The second level, I make sure I didn't give them any chance to tell me no. The third level, I make sure I didn't give them any chance to tell me no. In fact, the panel had to have a meeting and they decided to give me a second chance to look at the slide, and I did. But the point I want to make that I made a mistake. When I got the job, they told me that event, that multiple thing that they gave me, the Excel sheet, the slide, the quiz, everything that they gave me was for me to prioritize, not for me to try to do everything. But they want to watch my prioritizing skills. Now, I teach people about that. I know about it in emergency, but on that day on the interview, I forgot. I didn't demonstrate that. What do you call it? It's a mistake. One other day, I think that was a NEPAS, okay? It has to do, there's what we call class hours in blood bank. So I was doing the class hours and I did the count. But the way I did the count, I'm not sure how to explain this to you guys now. So the way I did the count, I did it on the opposite. What I mean that instead of counting this against this, I started counting this against this. Just take it that way. So because of the approach I used to do the count, I was getting a low count. Okay? And then every other person was getting a high count. But take it or believe it, it's a mistake. Obviously, when I realized that, okay, because they had to find out why were you getting a low count, and from the conversation I found out, oh, I was counting it wrongly. And what did I do? When I counted the same way they counted it, I got the same thing that everybody got. But at least I made a mistake. So people do make a mistake. Maybe you may want to know as well. I think there was one day I was validating a result. For some reason, I have taught you guys on my previous video that once you see a difference in the MCV, that one of the factors could be diluted sample or wrong sample in tube, many other things I told you guys. But do you know that I saw these differences, but I check it out with all my scientific thought. I felt like, well, this can be acceptable, and I let it go. But guess what? That sample was tiny in the bottle. That means the EDTA diluted the sample. Believe it or not, it was a mistake, and a kappa was raised for it. So that is with all my experience. I don't want you to beat yourself. I have seen the most experienced, BMSs make mistakes. So mistake is part of it, but we have to keep learning. Can I even tell you? Mistake is one of the ways we keep refining our standard operating procedure, because everything that we do in the lab can always get better. So how do you then handle mistake in the pathology laboratory? Right, so with this explanation I've given, so how you can handle it, first of all, don't kill yourself because you made a mistake. Obviously, you are going to feel bad, okay? But don't let it affect you. If a mistake affects your confidence, you will keep making mistakes. So how to handle it is, first, recognize that it's a learning curve. Recognize that that mistake is a learning opportunity. That is one of the best experience about mistake. Mistake can make you to learn and never forget again. Once you see it that way, you can be told off. The manager may tell you sometimes maybe they can use approach you don't like, but don't worry. At least you have learned. So take it like that. That is a learning curve. Number 2, don't try to lie that you didn't make a mistake. Don't even try to cover the mistake. Oh, maybe I was tired. Oh, no. If you know that obviously this is lack of knowledge, open up. That I don't know. You see, once you open up, it allows you to be trained. It allows, the senior or whoever to explain the thing for you so that you can know. Once you know that mistake is a learning curve, it will be easier for you to open up. But sometimes, unfortunately, I don't know if I should call it pride. We don't want to open up. We can say, oh, I don't know when I did it. Oh, maybe I was tired. That is not relevant. Just open up. Because sometimes it doesn't even matter how much you explain it. It's still a mistake that you have made. So the best thing is, okay, obviously, if you are tired or maybe whatever thing, you can say, oh, it's an oversight or maybe I don't know, if that is the case. But if genuinely you know you don't know that thing, open up. Say, oh, I don't know. I thought that this is how I can do it. That way you can be trained. At the end is a learning curve. And that is one of the ways to handle, mistakes in the laboratory. I want you to know, even the person correcting your mistake do make mistake. The only thing is that when a senior make mistake, you don't know. Okay? Let me put it this way. When a band 7 make mistake, you may not know. Then the band 8 will tell him off or tell her off, or whatever, as the case may be. They discuss it at the senior level. Mistake do happen. Everyone make mistake. Each one of us, what we are hoping is that we're not going to make a costliest mistake. The one that can cost the life of a patient. But mistake do happen. Mistake do happen. In the world as well, the nurses make mistakes. Sometimes, sometimes they can phone and say, oh, that sample was a wrong sample. That's a huge mistake. Do you know what that can cause? It's a huge mistake. Doctors make mistakes. Mistakes do happen in the place of work. See it as a learning curve. Open up. Learn as much as you can learn. And that way, you will handle that mistake effectively. Any mistake you made, the best way to handle it is that at the end, you have learned something. You have known how not to make that mistake again. Okay? I hope that makes sense. All right. Thank you very much. Okay? Please don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Like, share, and share with your friends. Comment as well. Make sure you share with people. Encourage them to subscribe. And I'm sure that this will also benefit them. All right. Thank you very much. Till I come back your way again. Bye-bye.